How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder. To recap the series from over the weekend between the Yankees and the Athletics, Yankees taking 2 out of 3 in this series. Hope everybody had a good weekend. We're getting closer and closer to 4th of July weekend, Subway Series, Part 2, between the Yankees and the Mets. Yankees will be in Toronto for 4 games this week, but let's get into what happened over the weekend. So, on Friday, went to the game. Good night. Firework night was on Friday as well, so got to stick around for that. It was good the Yankees won that game because if they would have lost, probably wouldn't have wanted to stay for that, but, well, would have stayed for it. But the Yankees did pick up the win. They won 3-0 behind a solid performance from Will Warren. The offense really didn't do much. You had Jazz Chisholm hit a home run and a couple of RBIs from Cody Bellinger and DJ LeMahieu. Will Warren actually got himself into trouble early on in the game. Walked the bases loaded, but he also struck out the side. I feel like Will Warren tends to struggle in the first inning. Maybe that's just me, and then he settles in. But he put together a solid performance. Again, the Yankees, they didn't put up a ton of hits. Again, Jazz Chisholm with the home run. But, yeah, the Yankees picked up a 3-0 win on Friday. And as for the A's, in that game, they only picked up 3 hits to the Yankees' 4 in that game. Devin Williams picked up his 11th save on the season, and it looks like he's the closer again. I keep saying that. I think he's taken that job back. But he has looked really good as of late. I mean, we've talked about this constantly, how he's looked, how different he is. It's great to see because, if the Yankees are going to want to do something this year, he's going to be an important part of that bullpen. And the way the bullpen has been as of late, with guys struggling, now you got Luke Weaver back. As long as you got the 2 big guys towards the back end of the bullpen pitching well, we'll figure out the other arms in that bullpen. And the Yankees are going to have to add somebody at the deadline. I know we keep bringing that up as well. But yeah, so 4 hits for the Yankees in that game. And then it kind of carried over into Saturday because they got 3 hits on Saturday. They got shut out against the Athletics, 7-0. J.P. Sears, former Yankee, he had his way with that lineup. Yankees really just couldn't get anything going offensively. They struck out. Well, they only struck out 7 times. Jazz Chisholm had 2 strikeouts. Bellinger struck out once. So Jason Dominguez struck out 3 times. The Yankees were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Judge hit the ball hard a couple times in the game on Saturday, but he just missed them. But we'll talk about his performance yesterday. And then for the Athletics, they got to Clark Schmidt. Clark Schmidt actually was going into this game with a scoreless streak. He had, at one point, a 28-3 scoreless streak and then gave up a home run to Brett Rooker right after that. And then Nick Kurtz, later in the game, hit a 3-run homer. And at that point, you knew that the Yankees were not going to come back. And then the A's tacked on. They scored 3 runs in the 8th inning. And, yeah, that was ugly. That was an ugly game. And you also had a miscue on the infield during this game where Winans came into the game, and he was pitching, and ball got hit up in the air, and the Yankees just let it drop instead of, catching the ball and get the easy out, and runner ended up making it to first base. And that was just, again, another defensive miscue by the Yankees. I don't know what's been going on as of late with them. Lately, they've kind of reverted back to how they were last year on the field when it comes to making bad plays. So hopefully they could straighten that out because I thought we were past that. So yeah, not really much to take away from the game. Again, another defensive miscue. The offense just couldn't get it going. So the series was split at 1 game apiece. And then yesterday you had Luis Severino making his return to the Bronx for the first time since he left. Now, he did start against the Yankees earlier this season out on the West Coast, but the Yankees had their way with him. And I kind of figured the Yankees were going to get to him again. I know some people, were really deflated about the loss on Saturday, and they felt like Severino was going to come out and pitch really well, but he did not. And on top of that, we also had Marcus Stroman going for the Yankees, and many people were pessimistic about that. I kind of was, leaning more towards that way as well, because the last time we saw Marcus Stroman, he pitched very poorly against the Giants. But to give Marcus Stroman credit, he pitched 5 solid innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, struck out a batter, and, gave the Yankees a solid outing. And then as for Severino, not so much. Didn't get out of the 4th inning, gave up 5 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and the Yankees won the game 12-5. A couple of home runs from Aaron Judge in this game. Cody Bellinger hit a 3-run homer. He had 3 hits yesterday. He's got the average up to 270. OPS is around 800. Jazz Chisholm, he had a bases-clearing triple. He had a home run in this game as well. He went 2 for 4, and his OPS is up to 831 on the season. And a scary moment late in the game because on a swing, he hurt his hand. I think he said in the interview that he hit his fingers on the swing, but the way he was holding his arm up, you thought he tore something, and he ended up staying in the game, thankfully. But I mean, if we lost Jazz Chisholm for the year, that would have been a devastating blow. Because since he's come back from his injury, Jazz Chisholm has been on a tear. He's been batting really well. He's batting over 300, 328 batting average. He has 6 homers, 4 doubles, a triple, 9 walks, 4 stolen bases. He's got a 979 OPS. This is since coming back from his injury on June 3rd. And on top of that, he made some good defensive plays over the weekend at third base. He's a valuable piece to this Yankees lineup. And I know a lot of Yankee fans like to trash Brian Cashman with some of the bad trades that he's made over the years, but this Jazz Chisholm trade was a good trade. So far, it has really paid off. He has been a good player for them. He wants to be a Yankee, and, he's going to be looking for a contract extension next season. If he continues to play like this and he plays good in 2026, Yankees definitely should consider giving him a contract extension. I would be all for that. And again, he wants to be here. He's a lefty bat, plays good defense. He'll play wherever they tell him to play. He's got speed on the base paths. This is a guy I want to keep around. So, I really think you should. Some Yankee fans who are, reluctant to give, Cashman props, I think maybe you should at least say, hey, that was a good trade. But Jazz Chisholm, he's been looking good. Cody Bellinger also had a good series. He's been playing well. Had a rough start to the season. Then, got hot. Then kind of cooled off a little bit. Now he's hot again. Again, another valuable piece to this Yankees team. Lefty bat, again, plays good defense. He's a big part of this offense as well. And also, another thing, too, is you saw Ben Rice catch again this weekend. And, look, I wouldn't be surprised if you see that more. Because Austin Wells, he's kind of been a disappointment this year. And, you know what, Ben Rice, he's had a good year. He's, one of the finalists for DH to be voted in for the All-Star game, him and Goldschmidt. So make sure to go do that. Vote Paul Goldschmidt and Ben Rice. Get them into the All-Star game. They do deserve it, although Goldschmidt's really cooled off since then, so he might miss out on the All-Star festivities. His OPS is now under 800. But maybe he kind of needs a reset. The All-Star break's right around the corner. Maybe you need a week off and then come back, and then you get back to the hitting machine that you were before the slump. But back to what I was saying, yeah, Austin Wells could be losing some playing time with Ben Rice. If Ben Rice hits, and, you could kind of live with, maybe some miscues behind the plate, but if he continues to hit and Austin Wells doesn't, Ben Rice has got to be in the lineup. Because now with Stanton back, it's just they're really complicating things, right? Because you want to keep everybody fresh, you want to keep playing everybody as much as you can, but you want to have your best lineup in that you can have. And Ben Rice right now, you might have to favor his bat over Austin Wells, and it might cause Austin Wells to lose some playing time. Yankees technically have 3 catchers on the bench, or 3 catchers on the team with Ben Rice, Austin Wells, and Escara. So, that it's going to be interesting what happens there. I know from some, podcasts that I've been listening and watching, I know fans have kind of suggested, well, what if the Yankees were to trade Austin Wells at the trade deadline? I don't think they should. Next year, Ben Rice is going to be playing first base. Austin Wells is going to be the catcher. Because they're not going to bring back Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt's going to be 38 next year. Ben Rice is the first baseman next year. So that kind of puts that to bed. But Austin Wells has got to start hitting, you know? So that was one thing. That's one thing to take away from this weekend. Also, a couple of other things. Anthony Volpe actually got his first career ejection. So 3 Yankees now, last 2 years, have received their first career ejections. Aaron Judge last year. You had DJ LeMahieu in Boston this year. And now you have Anthony Volpe. And it was simply from just, again, I don't agree with these ejections. Aaron Judge gets ejected. That was soft. DJ LeMahieu quietly tells the umpire that was a bad call. He gets thrown out. And then I think Anthony Volpe, I didn't really watch any of his interviews or anything, but it could have been because he threw his helmet. He kind of just tossed his helmet to the ground after he struck out yesterday. I mean, is that why? Is that why? I mean, come on. But yeah, Volpe got thrown out, so DJ LeMahieu had to be brought in to play second. Peraza started yesterday, so he ended up taking over at short since Volpe got thrown out of the game. But you would have liked to have seen the Yankees sweep this series because the A's are not a very good team. But look, the way the Yankees have been playing, what did I say before this series? I said just take at least 2 out of 3. All right, just take 2 out of 3. You should sweep, but as long as you win series, we'll take that. So they did do that. But a couple of other things that I wanted to mention as well. Also, you had that weird incident on Saturday with Ian Hamilton and Jacob Wilson. So Jacob Wilson hit a little ground ball, and Hamilton got out of the inning, but he was like staring down Jacob Wilson as he was going back to the dugout. He just said he was frustrated with himself and that he wants to pitch better, and the way the team has been struggling, things like that. I guess he was kind of taking it out on Wilson, but Jacob Wilson really didn't do anything. Aaron Judge actually went over to Jacob Wilson, and they talked about it, but he handled it fine. There wasn't really anything to come about it after the fact. But yeah, it was a weird incident. But actually, Ian Hamilton has been pitching good of late. His ERA is at 3.64 right now. In his last 7 games, he's got a 0 ERA. Last 15 games, a 2.45 ERA. So now he's kind of turning back into the Ian Hamilton that we're accustomed to seeing. So that's good. Jonathan Loaisiga, that illness that he was dealing with, he seems to be over that. He pitched yesterday, pitched 2/3 of an inning. Honestly, I was upset, though, that the Yankees had to use 4 other relievers because they were up 10-1, and then JT Brubaker comes in, and he can't get anybody out. After I said, hey, you know what? He's pitched good so far. Maybe if Stroman's not good, you could go to this guy. He could be an option in the rotation while you're waiting for Heel or Yarborough to come back. But doesn't look like that's going to happen because he only got 1 out yesterday, 4 earned runs, 3 walks. I mean, the walks really killed him. But, so now his ERA is up to 10.8. So that's not good. So, yeah, in a game like that, you were hoping that he could just get through the remaining 4 innings and you don't have to go to anybody else. But unfortunately, that was not the case. They even put in Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver pitched a scoreless 9th inning, struck out a batter. And Yankees won that game. And then also, I wanted to bring this up. So we had a fellow to Aaron Judge, Tyler Ferguson, fellow Fresno guy from California. They were talking about him on the broadcast, and he said how he really wanted to pitch against Aaron Judge and get him out. And what happened? Aaron Judge hit a home run off of him, a 2-run homer. So, yeah, look, if you're going to trash talk Aaron Judge, you got to make sure you back it up. Like with Hunter Dobbins, for example, like what he said earlier, how he this year about not wanting to sign with the Yankees if they, ever gave him a contract. Well, Judge did hit a home run off of him anyways. But, last couple times, after that home run, pitched a good start there, and then in Fenway, he pitched well against the Yankees too. So he did back it up after the home run. But still, I mean, usually when you trash talk Aaron Judge, it doesn't really work out. You got to back it up. But, so Judge had a couple of homers. That gets him up to 30 homers on the season. And his current stat line is right now he's batting .356, so that average really came down after being in the 400s. 30 homers, 67 RBIs, and 1180 OPS. That's good, right? That's good. But he still doesn't have the most homers. He's still behind Cal Riley. Cal Riley right now has 32. But I've been saying this. I think Judge will catch him. Judge is going to catch him and surpass him, and he's going to have the home run lead when it's all said and done. And I don't even think he has the RBI lead either. Yeah, no, Cal Riley hasn't beat there. So, we'll see. But got to give Cal Riley some love though. He is having a very good season for the Mariners, and he will be in the All-Star game as well. He'll be the starting catcher. So, All-Star game is coming up. It's coming up. And actually, I think he's also participating in the Home Run Derby as well. But we're going to see, it looks like we're going to see Gleyber Torres. He's the leading vote getter for second baseman in the American League. So, good for him. He's having a good season. And I'm going to say this once again. Look, when Gleyber Torres was not brought back, I said, okay, that means they're going to replace him, right? They didn't replace him. The Yankees just did not replace him. They went into the year with Jazz and Oswaldo Cabrera, and DJ LeMahieu came back, and you have Peraza, all these guys. And I know the Yankees did make a lot of moves this offseason, but I kind of backtracked, and I said, you know what? I know the defense was a problem. I know the base running was an issue. But the guy was one of their best postseason hitters last year, and he really found himself in the leadoff spot in the playoffs and towards the end of the regular season. He kind of turned into a different... I mean, there were still some miscues. I mean, there were some miscues in the playoffs as well. Like in Game 1 when Ohtani hit the double off the wall, and then, they kind of just let the ball roll on the infield, and Ohtani went to third base, and then there was a sac fly. So, if that doesn't happen, But anyways... Yeah, so there were still issues with Gleyber Torres even after the benching, but he definitely took that benching to heart, and that kind of like woke him up. Because last year, I mean, before the benching, he wasn't really having a great offensive season, but then once he got benched, he started to produce, and the Yankees put him back into the leadoff spot. Because if you remember, he started the year off as the leadoff hitter, and then in the playoffs he was good. So, and the Yankees kind of need another bat in that lineup. So, I mean, he didn't really sign for a huge deal with Detroit. I think it's just a one-year deal. I mean, would it have been so bad had the Yankees did that? I know some people would have said no. He would. I don't think he would have been doing what he's doing right now with Detroit, with the Yankees. But, I mean, he wanted to be. He's another guy. He wanted to be a Yankee. He wanted to stay. I think he was definitely holding out hope that the Yankees would bring him back. But they didn't. They let him walk. He went to Detroit. And I'm happy that he's doing well there. And, he's going to be an all-star this year. So good for him. But I do think maybe the Yankees, right now, he kind of made a little bit of a mistake. He made a little bit of a mistake letting him go. But I'm not going to kill them for it. My only thing is, you didn't really replace him with anybody. That's my thing. And Oswaldo Cabrera was playing okay at third base, and look, Jazz is doing great. I mean, I guess you could say, they could say, we replaced Gleyber with Jazz Chisholm at second. Okay, and Jazz is doing very well, but I feel like maybe they could have brought him back. That's just me. But the Yankees are gonna have to trade for a bat at the deadline. They are going to have to, because once again, DJ LeMahieu is not it. It's got to be somebody else, and I don't know who that's going to be, but we'll find out sure enough. But they're definitely going to make moves at the deadline. There's going to be at least 2 trades that they are going to make at the deadline, in my opinion. And this team is good. All right, I know they're struggling. They did get the bats going yesterday against Severino, but you kind of figured that was what was going to happen. But right now they're going through it. But I don't think this is not a reflection of who they are. This recent stretch is not a reflection of who they are. And at the beginning of the year when they were hitting all those home runs and, tearing the cover off the ball, that's not them. They're in the middle. They're in the middle. But I also wanted to bring up Luis Severino really quickly. So in 2 starts against the Yankees this year, 7 2/3 innings pitched, 14 hits, 14 earned runs, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts. He's pitching in 2 starts against the Yankees to a 16.43 ERA. I feel bad. Feel bad for Sevy. And he signed the largest contract in A's history in the offseason, and he's part of trade rumors, so I don't know. Maybe he gets traded. I hope he does get traded and he goes to a better team. But I know some people are complaining about him because he's complaining about, pitching at the minor league ballpark. I don't blame him. But maybe he does get traded. Who knows? But it was interesting because apparently Severino was expecting to be booed. I don't know. Were there any boos for him? I think on the broadcast they were saying there was cheers. It's not like he got like a huge ovation, but like I don't think there were any boos. I don't think Severino should get booed. I know. Listen, 2023 was a rough year for Luis Severino, and usually when he would get hurt, he would bounce back from injuries. 2023 was the first time he didn't really bounce back, and he was one of the worst pitchers in baseball in 2023. But you know what? Injuries really derailed what could have been, and he was the ace of the Yankees staff for a couple of years between 2017 and 2018. And, he had electrifying stuff. He was a big game pitcher, and I appreciate everything he did for the Yankees. He was a good pitcher for the Yankees. It's just the injuries really caught up to him. I don't have any ill will towards him. He loved being a Yankee. It's just, again, injuries caught up to him. So, I don't think anybody should have any animosity towards Luis Severino. Yeah, we didn't win a championship with him, but like, we don't win a championship with a lot of people. So, yeah, I do appreciate Severino. He was one of my favorite Yankees when he was with the team. So, and I wish him nothing but the best. It does hurt when you see, guys like him getting rocked against you. But, look, you're on the other team. Look what happened to Nestor Cortez this year when he went up against the Yankees. He gave up 3 homers on 3 pitches. So, look, they're not on our team anymore. They're the opposition now. But, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Severino thought that. I guess maybe because how things ended off, that he wasn't good with the Yankees towards the end there in his final year. But, I mean, that shouldn't make us forget all the good times that we had with Severino. He was an all-star. He was one of the best pitchers in baseball, before he got hurt. It's just injuries really caught up to him. That's the bottom line. So, but yeah, not a good weekend for him. And, yeah, look, for the Yankees, hey, they're still in first place. Every time you think that the Rays are going to surpass them, it doesn't happen yet. So, look, you're playing the Blue Jays who are playing good baseball right now. So, go out and try to take that series. Tonight, the Yankees have going for them Carlos Rodon against Max Scherzer. Tuesday is Max Fried against Kevin Gausman. Jose Barrios against Will Warren on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, you got Clark Schmidt against Chris Bassett. And then the Subway Series follows that. So, and like I said, the Blue Jays are playing good ball right now. As we are recording this, they're 3 games back of the Yankees. So, hey, if they sweep the Yankees, then, they pass them in the division. But I don't think that's happening. I do think this, it could be a bit of a tough series. Because, again, I don't know what Yankees team we're going to get. Are we going to get the team that, gets shut out on Saturday? Well, I don't think we're going to get a team that's going to score 12 runs every night. But are we going to get a team that's going to score runs? Like, what's the offense going to do tonight? Again, still waiting for Giancarlo Stanton to hit his first long ball. He didn't hit it. He didn't play yesterday. But I want to see those power numbers start to come back for Big G. I hope the tennis elbow is not really affecting him. I mean, he says he's fine. And when he first came back, he was hitting the ball hard, but kind of striking out a little bit too much. But that's what happens with Stanton. So, well, it's gonna come. It's gonna happen with Stanton, his first long ball of the season. But Jazz is looking good. Judge a couple of homers. Bellinger is looking good. Volpe, I mean, he walked quite a few times over the weekend, so that was good. I don't know why I'm saying, but it takes some positives away. Um, but yeah, he needs to get it going. Dominguez, I thought he was starting to wake up a little bit, but yeah, had 3 strikeouts in one game this weekend. But you figure he's gonna find it. He's gonna find it. I got faith in him. He's still a very young player. Goldschmidt waiting for that slump to end. Hopefully that ends soon. And the catching position, like we talked about, what is that? How is that going to shape out the rest of the season? But the starting rotation continues to pitch well. Look, give Stroman credit. He pitched well yesterday. I don't really expect that every time out. If they go up against a really good team, I expect them to struggle. But we'll take it for what it's worth. Will Warren, I mean, outside of that rough game, that rough start against the Dodgers, he's pitched well. So, I mean, he's done everything that you probably could have asked for, if not more, because, I mean, going into this year, him being inserted into the rotation, you really didn't know what to expect, because last year, I mean, you go back to his first start against the Phillies last year, I mean, he couldn't get anybody out, but he's really been developing as a good pitcher in this rotation. Clark Schmidt, he's been good as of late, a couple of blips in the radar, against the A's on Saturday. He was pitching well and then gave up those 2 long balls, but he's been good. Rodon's been good, and Max Fried has been awesome. So, not much more you can ask for with this Yankees rotation with everything that happened before the season. But, look, this Yankees team is a good team. They're struggling a little bit offensively, but the pitching has really kept them in it. They're going to figure it out. I do think that there are 1 or 2 moves coming at this trade deadline. Bat and, bullpen piece. So we'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think about this series against the A's. What were your takeaways from it? Let me know in the comments. Got some more videos hopefully coming out this weekend on some other things, some football news. We had some more deals from the Steelers. Maybe I'll do a video on that. Also wanted to do an NBA video with Ben at some point as well with the different things that have gone on there. But again, hope you guys are all doing well. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate it. Make sure to follow us on all the social media platforms in the description. And as always, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off. Have a good one. I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.